in construction and in this business, like just curveballs come out of absolutely nowhere.
Right.
That aren't even, you know, our fault or the, you know, client's fault. It's just things happen.
Right.
And you got to be able to adapt.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Trey Tipton, and we're back again with Tre'd Talk. And if you didn't know, now you know. And I got an incredible guest today that I cannot wait for you guys to meet. My man, Mark Perkins. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best guys that I know, but not only the best guys I know, one of the best husbands I've ever seen, especially in a space like this. So with that said, what's up, Mark? How we doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me over. Appreciate it.
No problem, man. So as I said before, man, we had a brief conversation before we had done this, man, and you're from a lot of different spaces, seen a lot of different faces, man. So tell the crowd a little bit about your lifestyle, some of the things that you've been through.
So I appreciate you having me on. I grew up originally in Illinois, and whenever I was 15, I moved down to Florida and went to high school in Fort Lauderdale, and it was a pretty big change for me, just because I'd been to a totally new an actual city compared to where I came from, and
Right.
very diverse, a lot of different cultures. Didn't really know anyone, so it was a tough summer, but I enjoyed all the friends I met at high school, and we still keep in touch to this day. And then after that, I knew I wanted to go back up to the Midwest for college,
Right.
so I checked out Xavier University and knew pretty quickly once I was on campus that that was the right fit, and enjoyed my time there. And I graduated with my bachelor's in athletic training and sports medicine. Came back home and then took a year to get my prerequisites ready for physical therapy school at FIU,
Right.
and got my doctorate in PT there and started practicing for a few years. Whenever I was able to get Paige, my wife who works for the company now, to come down, we started working together. And then shortly thereafter, COVID happened, things started changing, and we're looking to make a move. So we were able to relocate up here to Pittsburgh, where I stayed with the same company, and she started to branch off and do different fields of care and PT before she ultimately decided she wanted to try something different, and then found herself here at the Pavement Group.
Man, and it's crazy because, as I like to say, man, your wife is a dog, bro. She kills it. She currently moved from PC to sales, as we talked about before. But not only has she done that, she's done it like the transition wasn't even a problem. You know what I'm saying? And you guys are hand in hand, working right next to each other. You are now her PC, right? But
Correct.
You guys work your butts off at all times. Like you said, Paige was here late last night or the night before,
Yeah.
right? Which is incredible because not too many people do that, right? They
Right.
go above and beyond. So, again, can you speak to the character of your wife, but also on how she's personally improved you over time?
Yeah, so she is an absolute dog when it comes to work. There's nobody who will outwork her, who will go the extra mile. She will take that extra step. To like what you were saying last night, I don't think she got home until about 7:45 or 8 o'clock. And it's a good thing. And she has literally been my roadmap in this company. Like, she started out exactly where I am now. She worked her butt off, still works hard every day. It's not like she took her foot off the gas or anything like that. But you never say, and I've said it too, I said, you never ever say no to an opportunity to grow, to learn something new.
Right.
With it, no matter, not just a TPG, but any job that you're in. You know, I always say you never say no without some sort of reasonable alternative. But it's been amazing. And, you know, I've said it before too, I would not be a TPG if it were not for her. So she, you know, at the time, whenever she was debating leaving healthcare, and I said, you know, go for it. You know, what's the worst that can happen is you go back to being a PT,
Right.
you know, right? And being able to come to some of the events, whether it was like the Top Golf event a couple of years ago or a year ago, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates games, all the other events, just to be around the culture that's here at TBG and all the different people who we work with today and together, you know, kind of sparked a little bit of curiosity in my brain. And then it wasn't until the TCS event in Hollywood, Florida last year where I really decided to, you know what, like, let's make a move. Let's really think about and sit down, like, what you're doing with your life and kind of take it from there.
So explain that a little bit, man, because you're coming, like you said, you're coming from a space where you genuinely love doing what you were doing at the time, right? But then you go into an event where you see this family. It's a different type of family. It's not a normal family. It's a bunch of brothers and sisters that come together as a collective from all over the country doing somewhat the same thing in the same realm, right? Explain what that experience was like, that it made you want to come from what you loved doing, right, into a whole new field you knew nothing about.
Yeah.
What did that experience have to be like for that to happen?
Yeah. So I did enjoy treating people and making a direct impact, but there were so many other things getting in the way. of helping people, whether it was health insurance or reimbursement or, physician orders, just a lot of tertiary factors that
Right.
are impacting my day to day with the people I'm trying to help. And, when I was at that TCS event, a lot of things kind of struck me, but the major thing was I realized that I was very stagnant in my life. I had reached a level of comfort. I wasn't really, I was always been a hard worker, but I was happy being where I was going to be. And, in terms of moving forward in the former company I was working for, there wasn't a whole lot of upward mobility at the time. And I just, after that TC event, I thought, you can be doing so much more for yourself and you can be doing better. And I wanted to find some place where my hard work was rewarded, not capped out. Like the harder I worked, the better benefit there was going to be. And that was my biggest takeaway from TCS, was that I can do more with my life than I'm doing right now.
So you went to the event, I believe that's in Hollywood, Florida. That's with John Maxwell. He came through. You were at the recent one with Ed Milet.
Yeah.
So from those experiences, what's the one takeaway that you've taken away from both of those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're like, yeah, like I need to be here and I need to stay here because I'm learning a lot here.
From the John Maxwell one, it was the number one rule of leadership, the law of the lid. So, whether you're a business owner or you're in charge of managing people and retaining talent, if you're not growing as a person, you're not giving the opportunity for the people who work beneath you to grow as well.
Right.
So that was a huge takeaway for me, even as a manager of a physical therapy clinic. That took to heart. And then with Ed Milet, I think the biggest thing I took away was that there's opportunity everywhere in front of our faces. And that we just need to be able to recognize, that this is an opportunity, or, if I make that extra phone call, I'll just do it tomorrow, but making that extra call or sending that extra email, putting that a little bit of effort in there can open up a whole other world of possibility for you down the long run.
So I'm curious, man, because there's a whole different Mark before you meet Paige, right? Like there's a guy that is in Chicago, in Illinois, then he's in Florida, he goes to Xavier, goes to FIU. Explain that guy a little bit, because you said that your wife has helped you improve in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
But who was Mark before Paige? I'm curious.
So a single guy in his 20s in South Florida, making good money for the first time in his life. Yeah. There's a time and a place for all that. And I had my fun and explored my city and my area. But when I met Paige, she's just very, very grounded and very family oriented. Not that I don't know my family, but family is everything to her. And the relationship she has with her parents, particularly her mom, is very phenomenal. And within her first couple of years of working as a PT at the same clinic, I'd worked there for a couple of years longer than she had. And one day, this is when we started dating, but she would say, how do I have more money saved than you? And I said, well, you were really expensive to find. But that was one thing that we both compromised on a lot. So I was a very, very big spender. Not very big, but I was not watching anything, and she's very, very frugal. And we have kind of met in the middle on that.
Okay.
And that's something we talk about all the time. But yeah.
Man, you guys have a genuine friendship. Like, I could tell that's your best friend, and it's granted that you don't have much family up here, or if any, right? But the fact that you guys have such a strong bond, you guys can work together, and on top of that, you guys work together outside of where we're at right now, right?
Yeah.
So I know this for a fact, just due to the fact I have the experience of being around you both. Both of you are extremely competitive. So I got to know, how is it possible for y'all to play card games at home, if possible at all?
So it's something that, like, as a couple, that's like our thing. And we have it, like, full disclosure, we haven't played in a long, long time, to be honest. But so there's one particular game called 5 Crowns, and I have a rolling record from the day that we've been married. I have it in my phone of just me and her playing. If there's other people involved, it doesn't count. But if it's just me and her, I have a lifelong, like, tally of what we've done.
What's the record? I need to hear it.
I think there's a game different. It's close. It's not.
Close?
There's no one's blown anyone out. I think I might be ahead in a one game, but she might be ahead in point total. But yeah, no, it's like I said, and I tell her all the time. I talk trash. I was like, when I get to sales, like, you have no idea what's gonna happen. But no, and again, we're learning every day.
Right.
We are not in construction. We were never around construction or asphalt or pavement or anything like that. But the one great thing about this is we have so many different resources, whether it's Tony, Hugim, Brian, there's just anyone that you can call that can walk through something with you, and it's awesome.
So when did you find your competitive edge? Was it in Illinois? Was it in Florida? Because Florida, I know there's a bunch of crazy animals down there now.
Yeah. It's a really interesting thing because neither one of my parents are super competitive at all. Neither one of them like sports. Neither one of them. They're both academics.
Okay.
And my brother wrestled a little bit in high school, but he was very undersized growing up compared to his other peers and stuff like that. So I was not born with any athletic ability whatsoever. But I love sports, love being competitive. I have no idea where it came from because it didn't come from my parents. So I don't know.
Man, you got a high competitiveness to you, bro. I be sitting there seeing it sometimes, bro, and I be cracking up. I be like, Mark wants to compete, bro. Like, if you put that man in a room with a group of lions, he might come out. You know what I'm saying? So I like to hear that, man. I like to see it. But more than anything, bro, I'm starting to notice one thing about you, Mark, is that you not only are extremely competitive, you have a sense of detail to you. You're very detailed. Now, where does that come from?
The job and just being very type A overall.
Okay.
I'm very organized. I am very regimented. And I think that is both one of my biggest strengths, but probably my biggest weakness.
Explain. You got to talk to me.
Because if almost kind of like Tua Tagovailoa as a quarterback for Dolphins.
Okay.
If things aren't going like absolutely like perfect, he's a different player.
Right.
Aaron throws or he freaks out in the pocket, whatever. In construction and in this business, like just curveballs come out of absolutely nowhere.
Right.
That aren't even, our fault or the client's fault. It's just things happen.
Right.
And you got to be able to adapt. And like my, getting frustrated in that moment and trying to sit down and make sure that everything goes right for us, the client, the vendor, everyone involved, it's a challenge. So, while it takes a lot of organization to make sure everything gets right, but when things get thrown off course, like you have to be able to adapt and move quickly. And that I think that is probably the biggest struggle in anyone's first year in this business, just learning something totally new. So
speak to that a little bit, right? Because you've had to gain this ability to adapt to different situations. And probably moving helped you a little bit with that as well.
Sure.
But what are some tactics that you're personally using to help you problem solve some of these out of nowhere problems that are coming to you?
Sure. I think it all starts with your relationship with the people you're talking to every day, both the client and who we have working and representing us as well.
Right.
If it's a brand new relationship, obviously there's going to be a level of it's uncomfortable because, hey, like you barely know us. We're doing this for you. And like this just happened. It's not a really good look. Right. But you have that awesome communication with, whoever's representing us and working for us. That call is coming to you first.
Right.
Hey, this is what happened. Here's what we can do to fix it. Here's how fast I can do it. Communication, getting all the possible options, and then kind of presenting it to get a good solution. So,
communication.
It all comes down to, the depth and quality of relationship you have with the people you're talking to every day.
So you mentioned Tua Tagovailoa, right? So that lets me know right now you're not just a sports fan; you're locked in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So who are your teams right now? Let's start MLB, NBA, and NFL. And we'll go with those three. You tell me.
So baseball, I've pretty much fallen off the map. Growing up in Illinois as a little kid, I was a humongous Cardinals fan.
Okay.
Mark McGwire.
Okay.
Ray Langford, Edgar Renteria, Fernando Tatis. His dad was a Cardinal.
Man.
I think his dad was the only player in MLB history to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning, if I'm not mistaken. But so baseball, I don't really follow too much anymore. NFL, Dolphins fan. College, Hurricanes fan, even though I went to FIU.
Oh man, you're hurting my feelings.
And then hockey, I go a little. I follow. I'll keep up with the Panthers and Penn scores, but I'm not actively like watching full games until like playoff time. But,
yeah. What about the NBA?
Oh, Heat, dude, for sure.
Hey.
NBA is Heat, yeah.
So are you what sport did you grow up saying that I want to play this sport? I just might not be good enough to play it because I got my sport. Basketball?
Yeah.
I was soccer, bro.
Soccer.
Man, like I have the footwork for it, man.
Yeah.
I can make it work. I can make it shake, man. But I never had the Cristiano Ronaldo type energy coming out of me. You know what I mean?
I played soccer in like the 2nd grade. I was on like a one year deal. But basketball, different times of my growing up, I was good at one specific thing. Like I could always shoot. And then I was really good at defense, but I was never, I could never handle the ball. I would choke, dude. Like
every time?
Oh, like in practice, fine. But in a real game when I got time to play, fold like a lawn chair. Like.
So how does that help you now? Because you're saying like you're a big sports fan, so that probably has something to do with you wanting to go into PT a little bit, right? Are you able to get any opportunities to go be a PT for any of these sports teams that you're talking about?
No, and I never really tried for it. I thought that's why I pivoted from athletic training to physical therapy is athletic training, you have to be incredibly passionate and really, truly love being around and in that atmosphere.
Okay.
And working with athletes, at that time, working with D1 athletes, it was not the experience I thought it was going to be. And I didn't really see myself doing that for the rest of my career.
Right.
So that's how I kind of pivoted to PT because I could still do a little bit of that if I wanted to, but I could still focus on other populations to help out and treat. but what were we just talking about there? I just don't know.
Nah, so why didn't you end up becoming a PT or an athletic trainer for either a major team and or a
Oh yeah.
college team?
So I mean, a lot of there we go. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Those people work insane hours. So you think about the athlete who gets up early to train, nutrition, and lift, and then there's their position specific drill sets and all that kind of stuff. But guess who's there before you even get in that door?
That trainer.
The person's there who's got to set up all the stuff in the training room for you. The person who's there while you're practicing, while you're training, while you're lifting. They work insane hours. And like I said, it requires a very, very involved level of passion and want to work in that position. Which, and like I said, to be working with people who are giving you their all, giving the organization their all,
right.
it's not a fair shake whenever you're coming in and like, I guess I'll, you know what I'm saying? You
right.
you got to match that intensity with them, or
right.
else you don't belong there.
And I could definitely tell, bro, you have a sense of intensity to you that it's like, yo, like I'm here and I'm not only going to be here, I'm going to make sure that I'm the elite one here. And you said that often in some of your statements, and when you would come to some of the TCS events or the meetups or the Christmas parties, that you were going to be in TPG, whether somebody liked it or not. It was going to happen. You know what I mean? And I love to hear that because that shows that lion type edge. And the reason why I keep bringing this up is because I genuinely believe, bro, in order for you to be a lion, you got to jump into the lion's den to see where you rank. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I felt like you've done that. Paige has done that tenfold, and not only has come out victorious, might end up being Hercules. You know what I'm saying? So. Yeah. I'm curious to see on where you plan on going and what are some of your bigger goals within the company that you're like, this is where I'm going, this is what I'm going to get done.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking extreme periods of time here. I'm not projecting this at all in any time future, but, Paige and I have both discussed that we want to earn the right down the line to be a part of decision-making or in leadership, where we're in the room and talking about, crafting about how to preserve and maintain this like long-term,
right.
way down the line.
Right.
And it's not going to be given. Nothing here is ever given.
Ever.
Like you need to prove yourself and earn it, and we fully understand and respect that. But that is like the very, very long-term goal. Short-term goal, we definitely, she's made it to sales, and with her being in that role, and it's kind of opened my mind to maybe doing something different. Like I've always said, I want to be in sales, but I've never just shut the door on anything else,
right.
whether it's business development or, dude, I just love TCS stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a part of me that kind of wants to. I don't even know what it would look like, but I'm not shutting the door on any of that. Like, I have, said that I want to do sales, but that's not to say that if something else were to pop up, that I wouldn't consider it. So, but right now, it's just, getting through my first year,
right.
which is be in June 5th, I think, will be year one. But keep doing what comes across my plate, doing it well, getting it out, and just seeing what happens.
I love that you said you love TCS stuff, man. Because me personally, like I said before, I've never experienced anything like it. You know what I mean? There's such a friendly family culture, and don't get it twisted, man. They have their ups and their downs by far, right? Nobody's perfect. But with that said, man, it's like you see these people genuinely coming together and taking time for each other, right? So it's like, how can we best benefit that? How can we best make this space even more creative, even more loving, even more all these things that it already is, right? So what are some suggestions that you want to personally add value to TCS already? So
I think it's, really finding out what they need, right? It's all, we would talk about, it's a community of giving. Like if everyone was a 9-figure company, no one would be a TCS, right? Things are going really well, right? No one's a 9-figure company.
Right.
That's there, right? They're people that have been through all the struggles, that have all that experience, are willing to give back, right? My biggest thing is when we're trying to get prospective people who don't know anything about it, this is these people's life's work. Multi-generational, this is a family business. If you can't get them to open up and talk about that, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. Like these people have literally lived and breathed this business and industry their entire life. So it shouldn't be hard to figure out where they're struggling, what they want to do, where they want to go.
Right.
And I don't know. I just feel like that'd be such an easy conversation to have and convince people to join up.
And it's nice, man, because when you get into a conversation with people about TCS, they're like, what is going on? Like, is it a fraternity? Is it a sorority?
Right.
Like, it's something different, because it's like these people genuinely care about each other, and they don't care on who's looking. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are grown men and women giving each other hugs when they pass the mic. These are grown men and women who are having conversations about love, troubles, problems, right? There's not many people in the universe who are doing that with each other. You know what I mean? To the level in which they do it, right? It's such a tight-knit family that people even get sometimes worried about who's coming into the group, because I don't know if you're going to keep the same energy. You know what I mean? And it takes a strong leader and a strong family to make sure that energy stays the same. And the one thing that I definitely believe is going to happen, that you're going to eventually be over there on the TCS circle side, man, just because you can see your passion behind it. You know what I mean? Every time you're there, you're locked
It's just
in.
people. It's talking to people all day. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, just how's it going? Like, what's new? And last time I talked to you, you said you were going to try and do this. How's that working out for you?
Right.
And that's it. Just talking to people
And just checking up on them,
Yeah.
man, making sure that they're taken care of, man. And that's something that's special. I can't wait to see on what you become and what you end up doing. Let's get through this year so you can figure out if you're going to be at business development or over here on TCS. But either way, man, I wish you the best, and I had a great time on the show today, man. What about you?
Dude, I appreciate it. I really enjoy taking a little break from the grind. So thank you very much, man.
Hey, no problem. With that said, Mark, do you have anything that you want to leave somebody who is watching this right now with?
If you're not happy doing what you're doing, don't be afraid to look somewhere else and take a step.
Ooh.
That's it. Take your first step.
Oh, drop the mic. Hey, Mark, drop the mic on it right there. That just dropped the mic on it right there, man. This has been Tre'd Talk. You're with your host, Tre'd Tipton. My man, Mark, as the guest, was a great guest, man. We thank you guys for paying attention, and not only paying attention, tuning in. So do me a favor since you tuned in. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all the above, because we love you at One Team Media, and we love you at TPG, and we love you even more at TCS. So with that said, this has been Tre'd Talk. I'm your host, Tre'd Tipton, and if you didn't know, now you know, and if you knew, tell everybody you know. Thank you. Again, we out.
Exactly.